You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Do you need a car? Been shopping only to be turned down because of bad credit, low credit, no credit, bankruptcy, or divorce? Guess what? Today's your lucky day, because now you can buy a car, truck, or SUV, just about any vehicle. It's true. Bad credit doesn't matter. No credit doesn't matter. Bankruptcy or divorce, it just doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, your job is your ticket to your new vehicle. We're Auto Credit Express, and we've helped thousands of people just like you. Antonio H. told us, great company, got me connected, and the day I went in, I drove off in the car I wanted. 100% worth your time. Need a car? Get started now and drive off as early as today. Just text FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911 right now to get started. That's FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911. Auto financing the easy way. Text FINANCE to 357-911.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your healthcare? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their healthcare. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your healthcare, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your healthcare while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Convert. Talk them into a smaller diamond or an inferior cut diamond. That way we can be competitive on price with Diamonds Direct. And the fourth C, change. Change the subject. Tell them how we've been here forever, or tell them our knockoff rings are just as good as the designers at Diamonds Direct. Just say whatever you can so you can get the most important C of all, commission.
Other stores will try just about anything to compete with Diamonds Direct, but it's no use. Diamonds Direct is forever changing how people here buy diamonds, with higher quality, better diamond education, more selection, and the guaranteed best prices. Diamonds Direct, Oklahoma City's direct diamond importer on North Penn across from Penn Square Mall.
Fundamentals that work. Stop a muscle cramp in 60 seconds. A migraine headache in 2 minutes. Lower high blood sugar 10% in 10 minutes. Stop by and sample these and many, many more items free at Meridian Avenue Nutrition, 1321 North Meridian Avenue, or call 943-6000 or 800-221-4973. We also have Kratom and CBD oil.
24/7, 365. You're up and at 'em every day, so you don't want something like Medicare Part D to slow you down. At Walgreens, we'll take care of your Medicare Part D prescriptions, saving you time and money. Make the switch to Walgreens today and get more by earning 100 balance reward points and save up to $5 on each Medicare Part D prescription when Walgreens is your preferred pharmacy. Walgreens, trusted since 1901. Prescription savings applies to Tier 1 generics when you fill at a preferred versus a non-preferred pharmacy on select plans. Points can't be earned in New York, New Jersey, or Arkansas. Other restrictions and limitations apply.
Did you know that over 90% of male enhancement pills are virtually the same thing that's repackaged, redone over and over again? Why settle for the same old product when you can get something completely different? Something that takes male enhancement into the 21st century. Something that really works. Men, you need to try Noxitril, the all-natural male enhancement formula that will unlock your performance in the bedroom to a level you could only dream of. Try to imagine Viagra on steroids. Noxitril is so powerful, that's why it took years for it to finally become available to the public without a prescription. So call now and take advantage of our special Noxitril free bottle offer today. Oh yeah, we recommend that you use the Noxitril dose as directed. Think of your partner. We certainly don't want you to overperform in the bedroom.
To find out how to get a free bottle of Noxitril, call 800-217-1579, 800-217-1579. Free bottles for a limited time, so call now, 800-217-1579, 800-217-1579.
24/7, 365. You're up and at 'em every day, so you don't want something like Medicare Part D to slow you down. At Walgreens, we'll take care of your Medicare Part D prescriptions, saving you time and money. Make the switch to Walgreens today and get more by earning 100 balance reward points and save up to $5 on each Medicare Part D prescription when Walgreens is your preferred pharmacy. Walgreens, trusted since 1901. Prescription savings applies to Tier 1 generics when you fill at a preferred versus a non-preferred pharmacy on select plans. Points can't be earned in New York, New Jersey, or Arkansas. Other restrictions and limitations apply.
Talk Radio's new generation, 1520 KOKC.
You're listening to Rise Above Radio.
Follow the show at Rise Above KOKC. Be a part of Rise Above Radio at 405-478-1520 and 1-866-530-5662. It's time to rise above.
Video, I don't know what you're multitasking. I don't think guys were meant to do that.
All right, welcome into the show. They will. Saturday. It's a great day to be clean and a great day to be sober. 405-478-1520, 866-530-5662. Also, Facebook Live, KOKC Radio. Share it out if you dig it, like the page, and we're just trying to get lots of hope, man. We got a group in the studio. We got a couple that I admire, a couple that I love, and I can't wait for them to share their stories, man. How are the headphone levels? Are they good? Harry's not here today. I'd like to. Oh yeah, click your microphone, push the blue button there. Brian, don't forget to push your button. You got yours. Okay, yeah. Well, you know what's funny is when you guys showed up, I was bottle feeding the infant in the stroller, and then I had the 7-year-old down here watching video. I don't know what she was doing.
You're multitasking. I don't think guys were meant to do that, Mac.
No, they weren't. And that's the thing about, I usually try to kind of just enjoy the peace and quiet, but Mama went to jazzercise.
All these years, by the grace of God, my wife and I, Cindy, who's wonderfully sitting next to me today, we celebrate 24 years of marriage this month. And she's helped raise 3 of our daughters while I was off traipsing around the world in the Army, and I have no idea, literally have no idea how she did it.
Yeah, I don't know how you did that. How did you do that?
I just did it.
Just did it. So 24 years, huh?
24 this month.
I should have been, I didn't.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the in-studio audience that we have. Thank you. Yeah. Well, now you, Mr. Brian Anderson, are with Rob's Ranch down in Purcell, which is an amazing place. It's awesome.
Sir.
And then you're doing some other stuff. I know you've been busting your tail going to school and doing all that.
I finished school in December, so finally getting a little bit of time off.
Nice.
But it's getting to spend most of my time at work.
Yeah.
I don't even call it work.
Right.
I love what I do.
Yeah. See, that's the great thing, man. And people might think, well, you guys must have known each other for a long time. Not really. Well, it's over a year.
Yeah.
Because I met you. Well, I mean, it's been like a year and a half.
I think it was November, December of 17.
Because you were one of the first guests that was on Rise Above.
Yeah.
And then
I think it was like week 2 or 3.
Yeah. 22 years in the Army.
22.
Long. Man. Yeah, long time.
Long
right?
years.
Yeah. Did you ever think you'd be doing what you're doing now?
No.
Right.
Not at all. As you and I have talked before, I retired actually the 28th of February, 2 days ago, was 6 years ago that I hung my uniform up for the last time.
Yeah.
And, as we talked, those last couple years in the Army and in the last year and a half after I'd gotten out, it was some pretty dark, painful time in my life.
Yeah.
And gosh, back then, if you would have asked me that I'd be doing what I do today, I literally would have told you you're crazy.
Right. Yeah.
God has been absolutely amazing. Restored my marriage, restored my family, brought a type of life to me that I absolutely did not believe could exist.
Yeah.
And so literally, I don't feel like I go to work. I wake up at my home every morning and go to my other home and get to help other people who have been struggling and ravished by the disease of addiction.
Yeah, and this isn't it's not a big infomercial for Rob's Ranch by any means, but what a great place that you guys have down there, man. I mean, there's close ones, loved ones down there. I mean, you kind of pull into that lot there down in Purcell, and you feel it, man. So that's why expect a miracle. That's why you got to say.
That is a common theme I hear all the time from people who are visiting or people who come in as they drive down that long driveway. That you can actually feel the presence of God.
You can, man.
Some people believe it, some people don't, and I'm just merely going off my own personal experience, but. I hear it over and over and over again.
And for some reason, I don't know why, but it's like the best salad bar I've ever had, too. I don't know. That's
we have the best. I kid around and say the only reason I went to work there was for the food.
Right. Right.
And I hate to admit how much I gained weight-wise since working there.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody, and he's like, man, if I don't chill out, I'm going to gain about 30, 40 pounds.
I gained, I think, 30.
Yeah. To go back really fast, because it kind of goes on the theme with how the week's been. Not only for me, but just in general, having conversation with other people. But 22 years in the Army, how did you get your identity? How did you feel after when you hung up the uniform, man? What did you know?
Man, I joined. I enlisted in the Army when I was 19, and it was for the first time in my life. My life actually felt like, man, I'm part of something. Yeah. I've got a purpose in life. It gave me an instant identity. I had a rank. I had, a position. And it felt great.
Yeah.
It still didn't fill a void that I had, but it was the next best thing.
Yeah.
And so when I retired in 2013, I joined when I was 19. I retired when I was 41. I literally thought it was going to be the greatest thing ever, and it actually ended up being pretty catastrophic because I took off the uniform, and I had no identity anymore. I had no title, I had no rank, had no purpose, I had no job. It was absolutely miserable. I spent the first 6 months after retired in just what I described as just very, very miserable.
Right.
Lost. That's when I really kind of started ramping up my alcohol abuse, and things just were falling apart very, very, very fast.
Yeah.
With great, introspection over the years, I realized that I never really did know who I was. It was my identity was always based on something I had done, or graduating, the university with a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Or, at the time I had one civilian master's degree. I had the equivalency of a master's degree from the U.S. Army, and I had all these things that I thought were supposed to make you happy.
Define you.
They're supposed to define you. They're supposed to give you your place in society.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I never felt it.
Right.
I always felt empty and alone.
Yeah.
And for me, it was the absence of a relationship with God.
Right. Yeah.
And I tried to fill it with everything else.
Like a spiritual bankruptcy?
Beyond bankruptcy.
Right.
I mean, there was a complete dark void of it.
Were you angry at what your idea of a higher power was?
I wasn't so much angry. I just felt like, I didn't necessarily need that.
Yeah.
I was Christian in name only.
Right. Yeah.
I'd go to church every once in a while when my wife wanted me to go.
Right.
Because I thought that was what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I didn't, I was still in command of my life.
Right.
I was my own higher power.
It's like the walking the walk.
Yeah.
Or, talking the talk, not walking the walk.
Yeah. I mean, I was a phony Christian.
Right.
Just as I'd been a phony human for all those years.
Yeah.
Not intentionally. I wasn't going around going, I'm going to be phony.
Right.
That's how I was. I was trying to project an image to the rest of the world of what I wanted you to see me as.
Yeah.
And it just was never enough.
Well, in a moment of pure transparency here, because that's what the show's all about, I sent you a text earlier this week because I had applied for something and then didn't make it or whatever, so I was disappointed, whatever. But you were kind enough to do a letter for me, a recommendation, all that, and so your reply back, dude, it was perfect, man. And for me, I had to sit back and kind of go, what was it about this whole recognition thing that I wanted? Was it on a personal one because is that what is expected of me, or is it because I wanted like recovery to be brought up again and be an issue? And so for me, for the longest time, man, prior to sobriety, I lived by what people expected. Oh yeah, he works in radio, man. He does this. He's at every concert. He does all that. And so the kind of thing also, I didn't know how to live a life that I was supposed to. I went and visited my buddy's resting place at a cemetery earlier this morning before going to a men's group. And so when I stopped, I was thinking, first of all, it's a much better place that I'm in now because the last time I went down there was Easter of 2016, and I drank, gin out of a protein shaker until the lights went off, man. And so now I go and I, give thanks and do all that stuff. But I was thinking, we try to honor those that aren't here anymore by being like, I'm going to live for them. I'm going to live a life for them. But man, was I not at all.
No.
Like, how can I live a life to honor somebody when I didn't even know, I wasn't even living the life to, do me a solid?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mac, I lived a long time for recognition. And, it's nice to get recognition from your peers or from other people. But I remember one thing that used to bother me about my wife.
Yes.
And
here we go.
Yeah, look, her eyebrows were, interesting. Yeah.
So, I was blessed to work with some absolutely amazing people in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
I was blessed to get to do some really, really cool stuff. And, along the journey of doing some of those things, I got presented with medals and ribbons and all that. And I felt proud about that. But the one thing that used to just kind of get under my skin is every time I would get an award or something like that, Cindy would be like,
right,
this is no big deal. And it used to just drive me nuts. I was like, man, what do I got to do to impress this woman?
This lady, man.
And she just never got all that excited about it.
Yeah.
And I asked her, I don't remember when it was, but I asked her, I said, why don't I see other wives out there all excited when their husbands get promotions or get awards and stuff, and you just don't ever seem to, get excited about it. And she would always tell me, she goes, I don't care about that stuff. I just care about you, and who you are. You're fine just the way you are.
Yeah.
I never got that. So for all these years, she always saw me how I was, even when I couldn't see who I was myself.
Right.
Well, he would get, awards for, I don't even know what the, top soldier of this or officer of this or that a lieutenant award or whatever. And he'd come home and he'd be all, proud of himself for it, which I was proud of him, but I could see he was miserable, too.
Right.
And so I'm like, I would rather you be happy versus...
Right.
Have another thing to hang above the toilet. Sure. Or wherever you want to hang it in the... whenever I get an award, I'm like, oh, cool, go hang it above the toilet. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't get all excited.
Yeah, her achievement or certificates and stuff like that, they stay in the envelope. They go into a drawer.
Right. Yeah. Well, so you wanted to see more, he was getting all these accolades and stuff, but there was a lot of discontent that you saw.
Yeah, I just wanted him to be truly happy.
Right.
Never was.
Right. How come?
Just ever since I could remember.
Yeah.
From as far back as I can remember as a kid, I just never felt like I fit in.
Right.
I could fit in anywhere with any group of people. If I was going to hang out with this type of group of people, I could kind of morph myself into them, or if I was going to hang out with these type of people, I could morph myself into them, but I never felt like I fit in. I could be in a whole big, huge crowd of people and still feel alone. The only time I never felt that way was, if I'd been, had some liquid courage and some alcohol.
Right.
And then for that temporary period, I'd feel like all was right and I was, in sync with everybody else. But I just never felt good enough. I never felt like I fit in.
Yeah.
And so that created a behavior pattern in me, which was to always try to impress people. And there were times, I would embellish a story or make it better than it was, or whatever, and Cindy would just be like,
right,
why is he doing that?
Man, I used to do that too. I honestly did. I would talk about something that would, if I worked at a gym, maybe I'll do a show. I think I'm going to get a trainer to do a show. Yeah, I'll do that. Come on, man.
Well, it was the stupidest thing. I might catch a 5-pound bass and I'd say it was 5 1/4.
Right.
That doesn't matter. But, that was the depths of my insecurity and my low self-esteem. And so I just always felt that way.
Yeah.
Always felt that way. I cannot tell you why. My parents were great. Very, very loving, very supportive, provided all my needs, never abusive, nothing like that. I can't tell you why that existed. It just did. And, no matter what I did or what I accomplished, it just wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And then I had some injuries in the Army towards my last couple of years, required some pretty miserable and painful surgeries. And I started abusing pain medication because, not only did that help me feel better physically, but emotionally I felt wonderful.
Was that like your first introduction to pain medicine, or did you prior to that?
Oh, I'd had it. I had surgery on my toe or something like that. But after these surgeries on my spine, that was pretty significant. And so, we had graduated to a much higher level of opiate pain medication.
Right.
And I'd just come back from my third combat deployment, and I was already emotionally messed up. And, the pain medication just made it all feel better. And I'd had some pretty significant bouts of anxiety. So, of course, the doctors were like, "Hey, here's some benzos, here's some Klonopin," and it works.
Right.
So now I got all this stuff on board, and I'm feeling great, artificially.
Right. Yeah. And just handing it out. Yeah, sure. Man.
And I don't blame the Army or the doctors. They're trying to do their best, and I'm not 100% honest with the doctors, and I don't blame them. I know there's a big movement, and again, this is just for me. This is my opinion and my opinion only. I know there's a big movement to go after doctors, and I'm not saying that there haven't been people out there that have overprescribed things.
Yeah.
But in my case, I didn't give the doctors a fair shot at it.
Right, yeah, if you're not transparent.
I wasn't transparent with them what was going on, and they were doing the best they could to help me out. And it just kept leading to more and more problems, and I was, mixing alcohol with it, and it was the cocktail of misery. That finally kind of came to a head in 2014 when my wonderful wife here put her foot down.
Right.
Unbeknownst to me, they were working, a couple weeks or months behind the scenes for an intervention.
Yeah.
And she was telling me she was going to a book club.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, but yet she was really going to...
Yeah, she was going meeting with people who were helping her out and giving her some support and helping her plan things out and everything. And, she's like, hey, I'm going to this book club. And I'm like, sweet, go to the book club. That gives me
more time
by myself to go drink.
I never asked what book I was reading. I was waiting for it.
Right.
There wasn't one.
So you were like, I got to find an answer to try to come up with
I'm thinking, hey, this is great, man. The house is to myself. I can drink. I can play my drums. Nobody's going to bother me.
Right.
She's going to a book club or whatever.
Yeah. Man, I was totally like that. Yeah, totally like that. Would be like, more time, I'll just have a couple tonight. I'll just hang out and relax, and I'm going to enjoy myself. That was my thing, is I'm going to relax. Fast forward to 3:30 in the morning, I'm in the garage smoking a cigarette, texting someone to see if they're awake. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
But I earned it. It was a great time. It's supposed to be fun, right?
So, I had one last night of blackout, don't remember what happened, and ended up having an unscheduled visit with the Oklahoma City Police Department.
Yeah.
Ended up, by the grace of God, they didn't take me to jail. They just took me to the drunk tank to sleep it off, and that was it.
Right.
Gotten fired from a job and that night and came home, and Cindy said, I'm done. She says, you can't live here anymore. And I was like, well, this is my house.
Right.
She's like, okay, well, your 3 daughters and I aren't going to live here. If you want to continue to kill yourself, we're not going to sit here and watch you.
Yeah.
Or you can get help. And I was like, well, I'll go to the VA. And she's like, we've already done that.
Right.
We're not going to do that. And so they basically gave me one option. I could choose the option that they had for me, which was to go to Rob's Ranch. Or I could try and figure it out on my own. But they were no longer going to support me if I was going to try and figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty miserable day. And fortunately, 3 days later, I think more out of spite than anything, I said, fine, I'll go.
Man, fine.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
It was in my top 3 best decisions I've ever made in my life. Yeah. Was to finally go get help.
Yeah.
And it was the hardest thing I've ever done. I often tell the clients that I work with today, 3 combat tours was nothing compared to what I had to go through in treatment, as far as my own personal growth, reflection, and
because you got to dig deep, man.
Getting honest with myself. I mean, I cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. I think every day for like 50 some days.
Right.
Not little tears. I'm talking, snot bubbles coming out of your nose.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. The ugly cry.
Yeah, the ugly cry. Like I was 4 years old. And in a psychology way, I was 4 years old crying.
Yeah, right.
Because some of this pain I had inside had been around since I was a child.
Well, that's the thing too, is it's not just putting down the pain pills or the drinking or whatever.
That's just a symptom.
Yeah, right. And if you could say, I mean, the hard part's being able to deal with life as it comes, right, without falling back on those things. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't deal with life.
Right. Well, we're going to talk about that on the other side of the break, and I also want to talk about how you said that Cindy kind of gave you, this is it, we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
So people need to hear that, man, how to really come to that decision. So, all right, it's Rise Above Radio on 95.3 FM, 1520 AM, we're KOKC. Facebook Live, KOKC Radio, also going to be shared out on several different platforms on Facebook. We're going to hear from Melissa Matos from West Virginia. This girl is amazing. She has a site called Recover Me, and you're talking about from heroin overdose to shining now Addiction to Redemption. Also, we'll hear from Jim Downs. This guy's he's walking all across the country to bring awareness to addiction. That's what we're trying to do, man. It's Rise Above. We're back after this.
Despite medical advances, HIV is still not a thing of the past. Every 30 hours, an Oklahoman is diagnosed with HIV. Nearly half are younger than 30. HIV testing is recommended for adults at least once as part of your health exam and every 3 months for those at higher risk. To learn more or to find a free HIV test near you, visit OKAIDSCareFund.com.
Sooner Nation, the Big 12 basketball season is upon us, and the best basketball in the country comes through the LNC, home to high-flying hoops.
Manic down low, money got deep. Watch out, two-handed hammer.
Knockdown threes.
Shoots a three. Oh, that's pretty.
And, of course, Sooner Magic.
Lob backdoor, Manic flushes it home.
You belong here. OU basketball hosts Kansas on Tuesday, March 5th at 8 p.m. Visit Soonersports.com/tickets today.
Enjoy the luck of the Irish during Salt Creek Casino's Sham Rock and Roll promotion. Beginning March 1st through the 15th, you could be one of the lucky winners to receive a share of $7,000 in cash and bonus play. Come get lucky at Salt Creek Casino, Highway 81 north of Chickasha.
It's a Subaru True Love Sales event at Hudeberg Subaru. You're going to fall in love with the prices on these new Subarus. During the month of February, get new 2019 Subaru Crosstrek 2.0i 6MTs for just $22,789. Plus, it's all-wheel drive just for the Oklahoma weather. Or get a new 2019 Subaru Outback 2.5i CVT for just $26,507. These lovely prices are only during the True Love Sales event. Plus, get complimentary maintenance included with every new Subaru you buy. Get your true love the best Valentine ever with a new Subaru from Hudeberg Subaru. Soon you'll say you love your Hudeberg Subaru too. Come see why more and more Oklahomans love to buy their Subarus from Hudeberg Subaru. Get it? It's love. Hudeberg Subaru is conveniently located on I-240 in Shields, or click HudebergSubaru.com. That's HudebergSubaru.com.
Get Hudeberg. Crosstrek KRA01, Outback KDB01.
When employers hire job seekers with disabilities, technology connects talent with opportunity. It's easy. DRS helps you match qualified workers with jobs you need to fill. Technology maximizes their performance. You get employees you can count on, and that improves your bottom line. Contact the Oklahoma Department of Rehabilitation Services at okdrs.gov or 800-845-8476.
Reason number 87 to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler. Free service for life with no fine print. That's right. When you buy your engagement ring or any piece of jewelry at Diamonds Direct, you will never have to pay a dime in the future for sizing, cleaning, or routine maintenance. Even if she accidentally knocks out a side accent diamond, Diamonds Direct will replace it free. Now, other stores claim to offer warranties, but the catch is they won't honor it unless you bring your ring in for regular inspections. But at Diamonds Direct, inspections are never required. There's no gotcha clause, no fine print, no looking for ways to void the warranty. Plain and simple at Diamonds Direct, we stand behind what we sell, and we're committed to servicing it at no charge for life, period. It's all part of our commitment to provide you with the ultimate in value and total confidence. Diamonds Direct, the jeweler you can trust with a no questions asked 100% free lifetime warranty. Come see us to learn more on North Penn across from Penn Square Mall.
It's time to rise above. Be a part of Rise Above Radio at 405-478-1520 and 1-866-530-5662. This is Rise Above Radio on KOKC.
All right, welcome back into the show. You can also join us on Facebook, KOKC Radio. If you dig it, like the page, share it out, man. We're trying to deal out some hope. Brian Anderson joins me, as well as his better half, Cindy. They just celebrated 24 years of marriage. Congratulations.
Well, 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
The 70s. St. Patrick's Day.
They're right on. See, you remember it. That's good, man.
I got to remember one thing.
Yeah, you have to. Right?
One thing.
That's right. You got to remember it, man. Melissa Matos is going to call us in from West Virginia, man. She's got an amazing story of recovery. Also, Big Jim Downs. This cat, I've never met him before. We talked via text and everything, but he's going to be in studio on Tuesday with Chad and I. We do the ride on the afternoon show, but he's going across the country, man, to bring awareness. And he's actually going to every state capital, knocking on the... You guys paying attention to your vets? You guys paying attention to those? Yeah, man. So we're going to hear from him in a little bit. He's in Kansas,
Very cool.
But like I said, he'll be in Oklahoma here in the next couple of days. Trekking across the country.
Great time of year.
Right, exactly right, man. Big Jim, and he posted a video. I had seen it, but he is a big feller too, man. They're not kidding. He says Big Jim. All right, so we talked in the last segment there about how your family, your wife, and everything had told you, "Hey, brother, you got to figure this out. We're not going to be here to let you drag us along." Basically, I mean, there was no enabling by any chance. I mean, that's right. I mean, you have enablers, and then
and I think at least for me, and I absolutely will let my wife speaks for herself, but for me, honestly, as I've looked back over the years, I never really saw how bad it was getting. I never really saw how bad I was. To me, it was just all right. Yeah, I'm having a little rough time here, and things will be okay. I've always been able to pull it through and manage to get through these things.
Yeah,
and I never fully grasped the significance, the enormity of it.
Yeah,
I don't think a human being, I don't think anybody who's actually in the depths of their addiction can understand and comprehend the full weight of it.
Yeah.
It's just not possible.
Yeah.
Over the years, as I've talked to Cindy and we've had some, of our own private conversations, she's kind of led into how negative and how much it was, how bad it was.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own bottom. Everybody has their own negative positions. But for me and my family, it had gotten bad enough.
Right.
And my wife has always been the strongest person in our family. She's, she had to raise 3 daughters while I was off all over the world doing things, working late hours. She took care of the home. She took care of everything, allowing me to do my job in the Army.
Right.
So she's always been the strongest one. I can't even imagine what she had to go through watching me self-destruct.
Mm-hmm.
And then to be able to put things enough together to say, okay, this is it, we're done.
Right. Yeah.
I'm willing to lose you, and I'm willing to let you go. But we're not going to do this anymore. And am so grateful I've never been put in that position.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even imagine what she had to go through.
Right. I bet obviously that was tough, huh, Cindy?
It wasn't fun. I guess the part that pushed me to that was, like, I remember our oldest saying, "I don't understand why you're even married to him." And that's her dad.
Right. Yeah.
So
that was a little tough to hear.
Oh, I bet, man. Yeah.
But it was.
But it needed to be.
It needed to be.
Yeah.
But also, when I told him, I said, we have 3 kids that get one childhood, and I'm not going to sit here and watch you destroy that.
Yeah.
And I was too, because I was allowing it to happen.
Right.
And so I just told him, I'm not divorcing you. I'm just not going to participate in this anymore.
Yeah.
And so if you want to get healthy and then rejoin us, that'd be awesome. We really hope that you will do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't, then that is your decision.
Right.
And I can't make that decision for you anymore. But yeah, thankfully he made a good decision on that.
There wasn't a whole lot of clear thought going on around that time.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I knew was imploding very quick.
Yeah.
And so I can't even tell you what was going through my mind other than I'm just tired. I'm tired of hurting, and I can't figure a way out of this. And all my old manipulative tactics. And
he tried.
Right.
I tried.
He tried really good. How about if I just go to the VA? And I'm like, you've been lying to them for years.
Because we know what happens then. Yeah, we've done that. Yeah.
And so, I tried my old manipulative tactics, and she stood on her ground and said, no.
Right.
This is the course of action we will accept. Anything but that was not acceptable.
Yeah.
And so all of my, my outs were gone.
Yeah.
I think the way that she did it and the way my beautiful daughters and everybody was perfect and was exactly the way it needed to be done for me.
Right.
And Mac, one of the things I've learned over the years, and I tell this with the clients that I'm working with today, anytime anybody's in pain, whether it's physical or emotional, the human being automatically goes into what I call relief seeking.
Yeah.
If an example I give is if you burn your hand on a stove, what's the first thing you're probably going to do? Run over and put cold water on it to get it to stop hurting.
Right.
And then the next question I ask an individual is, what's worse, physical pain or emotional pain?
Yeah.
And without exception, everybody always says, man, emotional pain's worse because it lasts. Some people last forever.
Right, yeah.
So if I'm in emotional pain, I'm going to automatically go into a relief-seeking mode. I mean, that's a survival mechanism. I mean, can you imagine if there was no way to relieve any type of pain?
Right.
It's miserable.
Right.
And so for me, substance abuse was all about relieving emotional pain.
Yeah.
And, things just kept compounding and compounding, making it more painful. And so the drug and alcohol use was just merely a symptom.
Yeah.
In the clinical field, I call it, it's a symptomology of an underlying psychopathology.
Mm-hmm.
So the concept of, well, I'm just not going to drink or use anymore, and everything's going to be fine is it's a farce.
Yeah. I was talking to a guy, Chris Freeman. He's on Facebook Live now, KOKC Radio, but he has Sober Works, which is a bunch of different pages that he has on he's involved in with addiction and recovery and stuff. And anyway, he called in a couple of weeks ago, and he said it's some of the darkest, man. Those of us that are in the throes of addiction are in some of the darkest, saddest places ever that you could ever imagine.
Yeah, I can't imagine making it much longer than I did. I just can't. I could find no way out of, I had nightmares I had to deal with from some of my deployment stuff. I had anxiety through the roof. I had, you name it, I had it. And I could not find an escape.
Yeah.
And, my solution was now causing mass problems.
Yeah.
Man, I was stuck.
And the more use, the more the problems, the more the pain.
I remember sitting there. I would just be at home and drinking, and Cindy would get upset, and I'd be like, what did I do wrong? What are you so mad for? I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting here at my house drinking.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get it.
Right, yeah. Why are you picking on me? I'm here, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything wrong.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's not normal for someone to put, half a bottle of whiskey down in an hour.
Right, yeah.
And then act the way I did.
Yeah.
That's what was wrong.
When you're saying that, you just made me think of the first step is to really realize, oh, man, I got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, again, I never realized, and I still don't realize the depths of the anxiety, the misery, all of that my wife and kids went through.
Yeah.
I never can.
Yeah.
I'm just grateful that that's not going on anymore.
Right. Well, speaking of darkness and all that, man, this Melissa Matos joined us from West Virginia, and Melissa, I'll go ahead and say that you were on death's doorstep, weren't you, sister?
Oh yes, I was.
Yeah, yeah,
big time.
Yeah. Well, I was telling people your story is just incredible. You were on the show a couple of weeks ago and all that. But, well, first of all, congratulations. Yesterday, I think it was, is it 3 years yesterday?
3 years.
3 years.
Hey, congratulations.
Look at that. In studio audience.
Thank you.
It's easy, man. What was you're in recovery from a lot of things, I'm sure you would say, but was it heroin was the main thing that your drug of choice, if you will?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Man, last time you were on the show, you talked about, was it New Year's Eve? If I'm not mistaken, New Year's Eve, you had overdosed and your kids and everything were at the house?
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah. Take us back to that moment really fast. I know there's a lot to get there, but just talk about that, man.
Yeah. So New Year's Eve, I was home with my fiance at the time and my two girls. They were home. And as usual, I was, me and him were cooped up in the room, and my girls were off doing, their own thing. And it was one of those, we used to call it good night because we got money and we had a lot of drugs and we had everything, that we thought was important at the time to have a good night. And of course that changed in, like a matter of minutes. And we, it used to be, this sounds crazy now, but he would always, shoot up before me because that was like, that was his protection method, because then if somebody died or overdosed, it was
going to be him first, right? Yeah.
So I would know not to do it.
The
right?
logic. Listen, we can't explain the. And Brian Anderson's here. I'm sure you'd heard Brian talking, and Cindy, his wife, is here as well. But Brian's smiling, going, "Yeah, that makes. I mean, the logic.
I get it.
Yeah, right."
I get it.
But we found out that this method does not really work. Because he did go first, and he was absolutely fine, And so now I'm all excited because he thinks this is like the best thing we ever had in the world. And I'm like, all right, well, great, my turn. And, my turn had me overdosing within like a minute. I remember that initial like, wow, this feels crazy. And then the next thing that I remembered was waking up, looking at my ceiling, laying on the floor, throwing up. The Narcan made me really sick. EMTs in my bedroom and police standing in my kitchen. And now I'm panicking because the only thing that I could think of, I realized what happened at this point. Not 100% of, how everything happened, but I knew it was bad, and I knew that my kids were somewhere in the house. I don't know what they saw. I don't know if they've been taken away. Right. So the first words out of my mouth were, "Where are the kids?"
Right, yeah.
And, the police officer that was standing there kind of walked in the door a little bit, and he was like, "They're okay. They're in the room with their dad." And they told me that they had to take me to the hospital. And I was trying to argue on that. I didn't want to go. Now I'm just in full panic mode because all I'm thinking is, well, this is going to be reported. My kids are going to be taken away, and that was like that last little piece of hope, the last thing that I was holding on to. I lost everything else. And that tiny little part of me that still wanted to live for them. Right. So I didn't want to leave, but I did. I went to the hospital, and I was there for not too long. They monitored me for a little while. And then I was on my way back home, and I get home, and all I want to do is see my kids. At least this is what I'm thinking on my way home in my head. But then I get home, and I see them, and they're okay. And I realize that, he had told them that Mommy passed out because of my anemia. That's what they thought happened. They just thought I was sick.
Right.
So now everything is fine. So my next thought after that was, well, shoot, I have a lot of dope left.
Right.
Because I only used a minimal amount before that happened. So this time I'll just use a little bit less and I'll be okay. Immediately just went there. And then to find out that he had, used the rest of whatever was left. So then the rest of the night was just like battle royale, just fighting all night because you know what I mean? Like there was no more dope left at home after I had just overdosed. So, it was insane. That whole period of time there, those, last few months before I went to treatment was just, it was just insane. It got so much worse after that. And, a lot of times people will say, like, well, how did you overdose? And then it got that much worse. It's because, I don't know, that's just the way the mind, our mind thinks at that time, well, I'm still alive. I didn't die, so I'm just going to go back to what I was doing. And then I guess, too, there's just so much guilt and shame. Like, the more things that happen, the worse it gets. We just make it worse because you get to that point where you just can't handle any of it at all.
Yeah.
And when I was listening to, I'm sorry,
Brian.
I forgot his name, the gentleman.
Brian, I was going to say, that's exactly what he was talking about. Yeah, Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah, about the emotional pain, and about the, it not being about, and lately that's something that people have been talking about, which I think is awesome, because we're not helping people get the treatment or, that they really need, because we're focused on the drug use part,
Yep.
The addiction part, but not the causes of that, not the mental health. Like now it's like mental health has more of a stigma than addiction does.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
And you know what's crazy?
And nobody's really talking about it.
It's crazy. There's this medical model that used to be in existence, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and that was doctors treated symptoms, and people just kept dying. And after the end of after the turn of the century, and in the early 1900s, they switched medical models to now they weren't chasing down symptoms; they were chasing down what the root cause was, and the symptoms went away. And unfortunately, what I keep seeing in the mental health field, even in the addiction field, is that they're chasing symptoms. And as long as we keep doing that, at the best, you'll get a dry drunk.
Right. Yeah.
And that's miserable.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It sure is.
That
man.
is miserable.
Yeah.
I go to meetings or whatever. You see those guys. I've been sober for 5 years, and they're the angriest people I've ever met.
Right. Yeah. It's a real thing. I was having that conversation with somebody the other day, white knuckling it, doesn't want to be there, mad about everything, still with the attitude of why can't things go the way that I need them
Exactly.
to. Right.
Gosh, if people just live by the way my book says live, man, everything would be great.
It'd be simple, yeah. That's why my favorite part, my favorite part in Serenity Prayer, man, is as it comes, not as I was having.
Yeah. Exactly.
When you take out the dope, when you take out the booze, when you take out all the other stuff, I don't care if it's putting the coin in a slot machine. When you take out whatever it is that your addiction, is, then you got to deal with the way life as it comes.
I had to deal with life.
Right. Yeah.
And I wasn't very good at life.
Right. Yeah. Hey, Melissa, what? So you went to treatment. Well, first I was going to ask you, what was it like when you were going through an overdose? What was your body like when you kind of knew what was going on? What did you feel?
It just honestly, before blackout time, I just felt really, really, really high, probably maybe like the highest I ever felt, the whole time I was using. And I just felt like it was nodding off a little bit faster than usual, but, and he was trying to tell me, he kept, I guess, sitting me up, like, Melissa, you got to sit up, like your eyes are rolling back. And I'm just getting mad because now you're just ruining it for me. And I just want you to leave me alone, But that's really all I remember. Like, I can remember that feeling, and I can remember definitely starting to, like, fade out, just feeling like I usually would, It was just starting to nod off. And I don't remember, anything after that. Like, the things that he saw that was happening, like, with me trying to breathe, or like, I never felt myself like gasping for air or losing my breath or anything like that. So, I don't really, besides that feeling of like going to sleep, I don't really remember much else. And then of course the way I felt when I woke up and like the throwing up from the Narcan, I know it kind of affects everyone differently, but I hear a lot of people say that it makes them throw up. But for me, I was just like, I was really throwing up. Like, I felt so sick, and I was so dizzy. And then, of course, my anxiety, my panic is kicking in. So now I feel like I can't breathe,
right.
I don't know. It was crazy. It was crazy. And it's still so vivid. Even though it was years ago, it was still so, like, I still can see that, especially that moment when I woke up. And I think that's because I still can feel what that panic felt like, and that fear of what happened with my kids.
Mm-hmm. So how's it been now? Yesterday, 3 years. Obviously, you have Recover Me, the Facebook page, the website, all that stuff. You got a lot of followers, man. I know it's not about, we don't do this for any self-gratification. I always say we try to inspire, not impress. Listen, I tried to be famous and couldn't care less if I was effective, but now it's different. We got to be effective, man. Famous that's not what we're here for. But so you're getting dealing out a lot of hope, I guess I could say, man. So.
Yeah, it's been pretty awesome, man. And even like when I was talking about it yesterday, because a lot of times I don't realize how many people are listening or watching. Mm-hmm. And I'm definitely not one that watches like the numbers on, the pages that I have. But with Recover Me, like I do have a couple people that'll help me with that. And here and there they'll be like, oh my gosh, did you see, how many followers you got this week or whatever? And So yesterday, or the day before, actually, one of the girls that helps me with the page had mentioned that it had just hit 10,000 followers, and that was like, it was like a big thing, not like, oh wow, all these people, like, you know, it was just like the fact that, you know, I never wanted that. Obviously, you know, my pictures went viral and my story went viral, and then that's kind of how all that happened, because I've never really liked being in the spotlight. I'm not always great with my words. I'm a writer. That's why I write, because I'm just much more effective with getting it down, you know, on paper than I am with, you know, actual, like, that's why I don't do a lot of public speaking or a lot of live videos, because I just feel like I'm more effective when I write. So I never really I wanted to help people. I wasn't sure how I was going to do that, but I never wanted, you know, all this stuff that happened. But it did, and once it did, I realized, I felt that, you know, now there was a responsibility, or now I realized that you know, I'm not directing this anymore. This is not me, because this isn't what I wanted. But obviously, my higher power that thought I was worthy of still being alive had this in plan for me. So now I have to get uncomfortable and learn how to talk to people and learn how to help people. So it's been a lot of, you know, educating myself, because I want to be sure that, you know, these people that are following me and you know, seeing what I write and everything else are getting all kinds of, you know, I want people to understand that I don't want you to just listen to me and be like, well, I'm going to do everything that Melissa did, because that's what Melissa tried to do in the beginning, and do what everybody else was doing, and it did not work for me. It didn't, you know, and we were just talking about that too. Like, I was miserable until I started finding the things that felt right to me, you know, and stopped worrying about what everybody else thought or what everybody else was doing. So I don't ever want anybody to, you know, be like, I'm going to just do everything Melissa did exactly the way she did it. So sometimes people get confused when they're reading and they're like, well, you know, you posted about this program yesterday and you're posting about this program today, and on purpose. There's a reason I'm doing this, you know, because people need to understand that they have so many options and there's so many paths to recovery, you know, and I want people to learn how to, you know, not be afraid of the stigma, but also understand that a lot of times we're placing labels on ourselves, you know, and that's important too. It's not just the way other people are thinking, it's the way that we're thinking about ourselves when we're not getting what we need.
Yeah.
So if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense.
I try to reach as many people as I can, and that's what's important to me. Even, you know, it doesn't matter how many people. I mean, I'm so grateful that so many people find some sort of hope or some sort of message in my page. But that, you know, what's more important to me is that even if it was just a small group of people, that I was effectively being able to let them know that they can do this, that they have all different kinds of options, you know, that there's people here, you know, that will love them and support them through them all. That's really all I care about.
And that's one of my favorite things. I mean, here you are in, you know, in West Virginia. It's Melissa Matos, by the way, calling in from West Virginia on Rise Above Radio. But here I am in Edmond, basically in Edmond, Oklahoma, and I had somebody who lives in Colorado that I grew up with, hadn't seen in a long time. She reached out to me, and then I was able to contact you guys, or connect you guys, just in Messenger thing. And that's what we say. We leave the one. I mean, that's it, Brian. Like right there. That's the, and it's just giving forward what's been freely given to us. You know what I mean? Like,
every once in a while, you know, have people ask me, well, why do you do what you do, or how can you do what you do? I can't imagine not doing this. If it wouldn't have been for some amazing people, Joe Pello, Jim Riley, his wife Robin Riley, and some other people who were there for my wife, for my children, when I was a mess, I darn sure wouldn't be sitting here right now with you. You know, and who else better to go help somebody else that's in the midst of this nightmare than somebody who's been in that nightmare. And can get out of it.
That's right. Hey, Melissa, you're a rock star, man. So it's Recover Me?
Yes.
Recover
It's Recover Me,
Yeah.
all one word.
And I'll post those before and afters. They're incredible. I'll show Brian and Cindy too. But I'm so proud of you, and congratulations yet again. And I'll be in touch. Thanks for calling in to
All
Rise
right,
Above
thank
Radio.
you.
All right, you got it. Talk to you soon. All right. Big Jim Downs is going to call. He's already checked in on our Facebook Live, man, at KOKC Radio. We got Brian Anderson. We've got Cindy Anderson. And we'll take your calls, 405-478-1520. If you like it, share it out. It's on KOKC Radio, all right? It's Rise Above. We're back after this.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Do you need a car? Been shopping only to be turned down because of bad credit, low credit, no credit, bankruptcy, or divorce? Guess what? Today's your lucky day, because now you can buy a car, truck, or SUV, just about any vehicle. It's true. Bad credit doesn't matter. No credit doesn't matter. Bankruptcy or divorce, it just doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, your job is your ticket to your new vehicle. We're Auto Credit Express, and we've helped thousands of people just like you. Antonio H. told us, great company, got me connected, and the day I went in, I drove off in the car I wanted. 100% worth your time. Need a car? Get started now and drive off as early as today. Just text FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911 right now to get started. That's FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911. Auto financing the easy way. Text FINANCE to 357-911.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is, if getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. you'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
The battle. Are all set to begin with Spark.
Who uses
so
the
fast?
new most advanced flex stack ever? Only found at Draper Family GNC. Packed with clinically tested test effect, shown to raise your free testosterone, giving you raw power, extra energy, and helping you burn off that stubborn body fat. The new formula has two newcomers to the show, Black Maca, which just might give you that libido boost you've been looking for, and boron citrate, a scientifically studied ingredient to help you power through the day, shooting up your testosterone while suppressing that nasty estrogen. Men, it's time to win the game. Get to Draper Family GNC and get started today with our new and strongest ever Flex Stack Advanced.
On the north side, visit the May and Hefner GNC. On the south side, come by the I-240 location at Penn and Western.
24/7, 365. You're up and at 'em every day, so you don't want something like Medicare Part D to slow you down. At Walgreens, we'll take care of your Medicare Part D prescriptions, saving you time and money. Make the switch to Walgreens today and get more by earning 100 balance reward points and save up to $5 on each Medicare Part D prescription when Walgreens is your preferred pharmacy. Walgreens, trusted since 1901. Prescription savings applies to Tier 1 generics when you fill at a preferred versus a non-preferred pharmacy on select plans. Points can't be earned in New York, New Jersey, or Arkansas. Other restrictions and limitations apply.
Reason number 52 to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler. Only Diamonds Direct gives you a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee. Let us explain. If you buy a diamond at Diamonds Direct today and decide in the future you want to upgrade to a larger diamond, Diamonds Direct will give you 110% of your original purchase price toward the new stone. For example, let's say you bought her a $5,000 diamond last year, but now she wants to upgrade to a $6,000 diamond. Diamonds Direct will give you $5,500 towards the new one. That's 10% more than you paid the first time. Guaranteed appreciation. Whether that first diamond was $3,000 or $30,000, you get 10% more. And unlike other stores who claim to offer diamond upgrades, at Diamonds Direct, there's no fine print and no minimum purchase requirement. It's 10% more, period. Come and discover real value and buy with confidence. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. On North Penn, across from Penn Square.
Talk Radio's new generation, 1520 KOKC.
You're listening to Rise Above Radio.
Follow the show at Rise Above KOKC. Be a part of Rise Above Radio at 405-478-1520 and 1-866-530-5662. It's time to rise above.
All right, welcome back into the show. Thanks again to Melissa Matos calling in from West Virginia. Recover Me is her website. You can check them out on Facebook. And, man, she's one of the great stories that we love about being, I mean, did you hear what she was talking about? Overdosing on New Year's Eve in front of her kids, man. And the way she was explaining it was, like she said, her and her fiance would look at it as, this is a good night. We got a lot of dope. And we're going to celebrate and enjoy ourselves, Brian, right? And that's kind of the mentality. Yeah.
And, she's saying the craziness of this disease. You OD, you get Narcan, and then you get mad because the rest of the dope's gone.
Right, exactly. And she was saying that the logic was that when she was back from the, getting out of the, basically kind of a detox, I guess, out of the hospital, and then she's going to, first thought on the way there is I will see my kids and I'll be all right. And then when she sees them and, they're okay. Well, then where's the rest of the dope?
Yeah, where's the dope?
Yeah, exactly, man.
With some of the guys I work with at Rob's Ranch, I'll tell them, I said, the crazy thing with this disease is that we defend the very thing that's killing us.
Right.
And I kind of use a metaphor or an analogy. I'll say, hey, man, if you walked around a corner and you saw somebody doing the things to your wife and kids that you did, what would you do?
Right.
And, without exception, they're always like, well, I'd go and, I'd kill them or I'd beat them up or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. And
I said, yet here we are destroying our families, destroying our loved ones, and we defend the very thing that's doing it.
Yeah.
It's like going around the corner and defending the guy who's beating up on your family.
Exactly, yeah. Well,
it makes absolutely no sense, but addiction is a mind-boggling.
Addiction is the only disease that will try to convince you that you don't want to have one.
Yeah.
That you don't have one. I truly believe that, man.
It's not the alcohol.
All right.
Every bit of trouble I've ever gotten into my life had everything to do with alcohol.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Cindy used to say, she goes, tell me one thing positive that's come out of your life with alcohol.
Right.
And I was like,
Right, you try to and then don't take it away from you. Guard it. Yeah, you guard it.
You remember that one time?
Mm-hmm. Well, we met. No, that's not. Oh, it's a good thing that came out. Yeah.
One thing positive that's come out of it.
Yeah.
Nothing.
That's Brian Anderson, and when he says Cindy, he's talking about his better half, Cindy Anderson. Brian is with Rob's Ranch and a bunch of other things, man. One of my, he's a brother in recovery and a mentor and all kinds of stuff. And then we have my better half, Jamie's in here. Hi.
Hello.
Hey, and then
I'm a little nervous, Mac.
What's that?
I got my wife on the right-hand side.
Yeah, and then mine over there. Be
side.
careful, man. Tread lightly, brother.
Yeah.
And then, she was going to come in anyway. And then when you said Cindy was coming in, I'm like, that's outstanding, man, because that's a perspective. And I've had people message before about the spouse perspective, or the partner perspective, or whatever it is, because having to go through, seeing what it's like to go through all of this, man. Because we put them through it, man. I mean, she could have left me several times.
No.
And golly, and I was just telling somebody the other day, like the nights that she would work late, she'd have to, is he driving? And she works in TV, so she'd hear on the scanner about a crash and be worried if I was me or,
And, here's the crazy thing. My arrogance and ego, I used to have this thought in the back of my head, she ain't ever going to leave me.
Right, yeah.
Did you think that too?
No,
Let's hear it.
Why you got to put me on blast?
Sorry, man.
No.
I'm just talking for me, James.
No. I didn't have that attitude because I don't think I didn't know what was going on, man, and I couldn't explain why. I mean, she would see me try to detox at home for 3 or 4 days, man, sick, and then here we go at it again just because I was feeling better. Yeah. And I actually had kind of some stomach flu not long ago, and she goes, "Wow, you haven't been sick since since you were sober." Because I used to get sick all the time.
Well, Cindy and I, she had just turned 17. Mm-hmm. I was 19 when we met, so we've been together, a long time.
Yeah.
I just had this arrogant, egocentric thought that, she's not going to leave me, and this isn't that bad or whatever, and I think it was the realization, that day on July 15th when she said, "I'm done. We're not doing this anymore." I think that was the first time I actually had a thought that she may actually be serious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that was...
Did you have kids at that point?
Yeah, I had all 3 of my daughters.
All 3 at that point, whenever you thought, finally you're like, wait, she might leave me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't tell the girls that I was going to do that. I told them after.
Right.
I told them, my mom took them to lunch.
Yeah.
And I told them, you need to get a bag and you need to leave. And so when they got back, I thought, especially our middle daughter, I thought she would be livid.
Right.
Because they were like Velcro.
Right.
She high-fived me.
Right.
Really? So she kind of could tell what was going on. You weren't happy. You know what I mean?
And it was more of, and our oldest said, I wonder what took you so long. And then Brooke, high-fived me, and then she went upstairs and was like, okay, she's happy, but she's not happy.
Right.
And then Kara, our youngest, she was less than 2 when he had left to go to a school for a year before he deployed.
Yeah.
And then, so she didn't ever remember him
being
happy, and so then he came back, and that's just how he was. And so she was like hiding behind me.
Yeah.
Metaphorically speaking, I guess.
Right.
She wasn't scared of him, but she just, like, there was not a connection.
Like the bond that, probably is there now, you know.
And that's just stuff that, still this day it hurts.
Right.
My heart hurts, as, when Cindy tells me these things. And it's not that I'm like, oh, hey, Cindy, don't talk about this. Right. It just hurts.
Right. And I mean, I don't know, could that possibly be a reason to relapse too, because you look back and you're like, God, I'm so upset with how I was.
Oh, yeah.
Or would it keep you from relapsing, you think?
I think it depends on the individual. For me, I know I don't hold anything in anymore.
Yeah.
One of my biggest things was I was an emotion stuffer. Like every alcoholic addict is, we stuff our emotions.
Yeah.
And I know today that I cannot stuff my emotions. And so if I am sad, if I'm hurting or whatever, I talk to Cindy, I talk to my coworkers.
Right.
If I need to cry, I cry. If I, whatever it is, I just simply will not stuff my emotions.
That's important.
And thus far, it keeps working.
I know it's pretty. I mean, like we were talking, just the disappointment. Like I mentioned that there was something I was kind of aiming for, and I would catch myself being like really, really checking my email and sort of starting to get consumed with it, and then when it didn't come to fruition or whatever, I went, okay, so you sit back and recognize, why is there a disappointment? Why is this? That's one of my favorite things, honestly, about recovery is recognizing, you get to know yourself a heck of a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
If you hear a rattle in the background, that's Amelia. She'll be 5 months old on the 10th.
She's playing with her.
Yeah, she's playing. Hey, let me get to Jim Downs calling in from Kansas really fast. Jim is, man, what's the name of the organization, brother? You're walking across the country, basically, aren't you, bro?
Yeah, man. I'm the name of this thing that came about is called Big Jim's Walk. And, man, I want to thank you guys for coming on here and for doing what y'all are doing. I'm a firm believer we got to recover out loud. And what you guys are doing, stepping up and stepping out, is amazing. So I want to give you guys props.
Yeah, thank you, brother. That means the world to me, dude. Thank you.
Absolutely. Listen, in 2017, I walked across America. Me and my wife, we walked across America. I walked out the front door of my recovery program clean and sober for the first time in my life. I've been in an active addiction for 34 years. Oh. And I knew that if I made a right-hand turn and went back to the old neighborhood, that the old habits, everything was there, just waiting to pounce on me. And so I kind of took a leap of faith, and I put everything on my back, and I started walking across America. And during that time, this thing evolved. I was able to share my testimony with thousands of people on this walk. I walked from Panama City, Florida, all the way to Canada. And during that time, I was able to share my story, was able to reach out, and also I was able to start helping other people find recovery. And was able to help them, assist them getting into free recovery programs. And it just kept snowballing and getting bigger. And I was extremely blessed. And I found my intended purpose. Before, it's polar opposites. Before I was Satan's general. I mean, I was that guy who would kick in doors and take anything that I wanted. Right. I was the criminal element, and I hurt people for money and for dope. And now, before my life was all full of hate and anger, but now it's full of love and compassion. It's east to west opposite from what I was. And this rock, getting clean and sober showed me this intended purpose that I had. Hey, I get it. I can understand. I fit in now. And people kind of took to my story and understood easily and could relate with it, and then come across Big Jim's Walk Incorporated.
Wow, yeah.
And now I'm on a bicycle, and I'm riding a bike to all 48 state capitals. I speak at each state capital. We're bringing awareness to the epidemic. We're bringing the message of hope out there to those, to let them know, hey, you're not alone. That, hey, there's other brothers and sisters out here that's been in similar shoes that you're in right now. And we're out here to empower those that are in recovery. To don't be selfish with it. This isn't something that you get and you stay selfish with. You reach back. You have a responsibility to reach back and help someone else out of the gutters that you once lived in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then we're here to encourage legislators to stand shoulder to shoulder, arm to arm with us, and to make a difference by having a better understanding that there is now more people searching for help than there is help available. And what we want legislators to do is to understand the magnitude of this. I mean, it's more likely for any of us to die of an accidental opioid overdose than it is to be in a fatal car accident.
Right.
I mean, that's insane, and yet we're still wanting to shy away from this epidemic. We're more worried about the violent criminal, the violent crime, than we are what is absolutely the silent crime that's killing people left and right.
Yeah. No, you're totally right.
We've got to change the way our legislators look at addiction, so that way we can come together and make better solutions. Because we need more programs, we need more beds, we need more long-term recovery programs. But that's just half of it. It's easy to get clean and sober in four walls. We need sober living communities where people can transfer out of a program and into a sober living environment where they can learn new social skills and how to live a life sober, but still with a bunch of accountability.
Right. Amen, man. Yeah.
And then, we're here to break the stigma. One of the issues, and I use Eminem a lot on this, in the movie 8 Mile, at the end of the movie, when he does that final wrap-off, he goes first. And what does he do? He takes away all the ammunition he knew that they were going to use against him. He told him, yeah, my mom's a whore. Yeah, my mom's a drunk. Yeah, I live in a trailer park. And he's just wrapping everything away from him. That's a perfect example of what we need to do.
Right.
I was in resistance for 34 years. I broke just about every law that was out there. I stole. I was a womanizer. I was a bully. I was a cheat. I was a thief. I was all this. But that is not going to define who I am today or what I'm going to do with my life tomorrow.
Come on. Yeah, right.
I am now a positive addition to society. So I truly believe that we need to recover out loud together. We need to recover out loud and be recovery strong to break the stigma.
Yeah.
We can talk about breaking the stigma, but how do we do it? Here's how you do it. You take away the ammunition that the people that don't understand addiction throw at us. They throw at us all the negatives. Oh, you're not just but an old drug addict, yeah? Well, this old drug addict right here has walked across America. I'm biking across America, and every day I'm blessed to help somebody get off the streets and in recovery.
Right. Yeah.
So don't think that who I was. Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't look at me and think that I've got a sign around me saying I'm no good. No, I found my value.
Right.
I know I have something that is positive to push back, and that's what this ride is about. To get everyone pumped up about recovery. I invite everyone to come out to each state capital that I go to. Come out on the steps with me. Stand there. Tell your story. Encourage someone else. Bring somebody with you that might be on the fence of addiction. Bring somebody with you that we can speak life into.
Amen,
do
man.
something positive or reaching back and bringing somewhere along. Come to the state capitals and make a difference in your state. You can sit on the sidelines and cheerlead all day long. But what are you really doing by that? You're not doing anything.
Right.
We got to get active to make a difference. And that's what this is about. It's about making recovery cool and getting loud about it, recovery out loud, and being #recovery strong.
Recovery strong. You'll be in Oklahoma City at the Capitol, right, on Monday. Is that correct?
Yep. I'm right here next to Wichita right now waiting for this. Let me tell you something, man. The Midwest has been a killer for me. It's hard to ride a bike in 18 feet of snow.
I can't imagine. Big Jim Downs joins us on Rise Above Radio on KOKC here in Oklahoma City. Brian Anderson's in studio as well as his wife Cindy. And Jim, yeah, I can only imagine. When I said that you were, I looked at Brian's face when you were saying that you were biking across America. He was like, what? Yeah.
At least
yeah,
during this time of year.
700 miles, 1 year and 4 days. Every day is mapped out. The Midwest has been a beast for me. I have spent 3.5 weeks in motels waiting for the snow to go by, bunny hopping forward. This ride isn't about the miles. It ain't about Big Jim.
Right.
It's about everyone out there that has suffered or is suffering from addiction.
Yeah.
It's about a message. It's a movement. So I've kind of been stuck in the Midwest in the snow.
I agree with you about recovering out loud and stuff too. I don't. For me personally, I never. Heck, man, I've been in radio for almost 20 years and stuff, and so it's kind of what I do is talking. But now, never in this capacity though. I never thought I'd go on the air and say, "Hey, I was a drunk and suicidal and all these different things, man." But I wouldn't trade it for anything on the planet, dude. And I was not made to be quiet about it. There was a little, and I talked to Brian. Brian's one of my, he's a lot of things to me, but when we launched Rise Above, and then through the process of the show, I've talked to him about how some of the kickback I got about, that you need to read the traditions and all this kind of different stuff and everything. And, we don't, And so, but it's the stories, man. It's the stories. And the crazy thing about, sometimes I'll reach out to people and say, hey, I'd love to have you on the show. And nothing will turn me off from an invite faster as when somebody says, how many listeners you got? What platforms are you on? How many exposure can I get? All this different stuff. I'm like, never mind, dude. That's okay. Never mind.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're not worried.
I totally agree with you because your testimony, let me just say it like this. A heroin addict is going to understand a heroin addict. A heroin addict is not going to understand or relate to a story from an alcoholic.
Right.
So if you got birds of a feather back together, when you tell your story and I tell my story, what you say may connect to that person, what I say may not.
Right.
So it is so important for us to tell our stories and tell and share our testimonies of hope. To let everyone know, man, you are not alone. Listen, those shoes that you're walking in, I don't want to walk in them, and I know you don't want to walk in mine, but I bet we got similar stories.
Yeah.
So let's sit down and have a conversation why I'm clean and sober and why you're struggling.
Exactly, man. Exactly. What's your story? That you can share. In this short. I know there's a lot to it. That's why everybody says, man, it's a long story. How much time you got, man? But did you kind of you said 34 years of active addiction?
34 years. It was a lot of the same. I was adopted into a family. I was given up at birth. The seed of abandonment was immediately placed in me.
Yeah.
I was brought into a family. They had 3 daughters. My mom didn't want any more kids. My dad wanted a son, so they finally compromised and said, let's adopt. They adopted me. 3 years later, my dad that adopted me, that wanted me, I was the apple of his eye, he died of cancer. Abandonment, seed number 2.
Right.
Then my mom didn't know what to do with me because, I was my dad's eye.
Right.
And so now I'm a burden of love. Abandonment number 3. Let me tell you, I was brought up in a middle-class family. I never went without. The one thing I went without was love.
Right, yeah.
It was very bland, very dull. I put a roof over your head. I do this. There was no alcoholism. There was no drugs. There was no nothing in this house. There was no stepping out to the bar. There was no going out dancing. It was go to work, come home, sit on the patio, have cigarettes and coffee, and discuss the world issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved away from that when I hit about 11 years old. I started getting a crazy little thing in me. By the time I was 12, I'd already been to jail twice. I was drinking, I was smoking. 14 years old, I was doing peanut butter crank off my mom's dining room table.
Oh, yeah.
Fell in love with meth. Then I became the John Belushi. You put it in front of me, I did it. I was that guy. I was the animal. You know, I didn't just drink a shot of tequila. I'd squirt lemon in my eye, snort the salt, then do the shot.
Right.
You know,
right? Yeah.
I did everything above what anyone else would ever do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the meth, you know, gave me that false sense of power. Now you top that with whiskey.
Right.
I'd get so high, I'd have to take the edge off, and I found out that whiskey really did it.
Bring it down some, yeah.
When I drank too much whiskey, I'd do more dope. So I was feeding two beasts.
Right.
And I finally had a psychotic episode in 2015, my psychotic first blackout, because Big Jim is a control freak. You know, I was always a control freak. And, I lost control. And when basically the whole entire neighborhood, the trailer hood, came to me and told me everything that I did, I put myself in detox.
Right.
They normally keep you for 3 days. They kept me for 7. My numbers were off the charts. I tested positive for everything, and my body was starting to fail. And the doc said, you know, you got a year if you're lucky. And so I went ahead and started trying to find a recovery program, and I found out just how difficult it really is, because I didn't have $30,000. I didn't have insurance. Come on, I'm an addict. I'm a dopehead.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that. And the only place that would accept me was a long-term, free, faith-based recovery program at the Panama City Rescue Mission.
Right.
And so I went there with a chip on my shoulder because I never knew God. I never wanted anything to do with God.
Right, yeah.
Never went to church, any of that stuff. So I went in there saying, listen here, I don't need your God. I don't need your Jesus. Don't need your Bible. Just teach me how to live a clean and sober life. And they laughed at me, and they said, okay, well, you're going to have all this. You're going to have an experience, a relationship. Yeah, whatever. Well, they were right. Over a series of events inside recovery, which the most impactful event was my roommate, my best friend, and my mentor in the recovery program. His name was Alex Peters. He was the house manager. He'd been there the longest. And they put me in the room with him. Now, I'm a big dude. I'm 6'3", 260. And they put me in the room with him. He's a professional wrestler.
Ah.
And so this guy has the machismo, like Hulk Hogan, all them, you know.
Yeah.
And he was in there for 10 years, of course, over the years of his abuse. But the one thing I didn't tell you was he's a little person.
Right, right.
He's a midget.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
So I went in there, and he's like, he just put the stomp down. And he said, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to learn about Jesus, you're going to learn about being clean and sober, you're going to change your life, or you can get out the door, man, because I'm not going to waste my time on it.
Right, right.
And, man, he helped me so much. He led me to Christ. He got me sober, really gave me a better understanding of what, you know, through his experiences, living clean and sober, what it's like, because I've never done it before.
Right.
And 3 weeks before he was to graduate, he relapsed in the program. 3 weeks later, he OD'd.
Oh, yeah.
And I spent 5 days in the hospital because I got real close with his family. And the recovery program let me stay in the hospital with him. And because the only thing keeping him alive was his brain. So when they went to take him off of life support, I was standing out in the hall. And all the doctors left and all that. And his mom was in there, and his fiance Angela, and his sister Beth. And I'm just standing out there just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. Next thing I know, the door opens up. Mama comes out. She snatches me up, drags me in the room, puts me right at the head of the bed. She walks around to the other side, sits down. Alex is going through the process. He's doing the short and shallow. And I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at everyone else, and I'm just like, what? And then Mama points over the bed at me and says, now you pray for him. And I had to pray over my buddy while he took his last breath. And once he did, I knew it was like God used him to tell me, listen, you know the beginning of addiction through your life. You know how the middle part, during the process of your addiction, how you ruined 5 marriages, how you got your kids, how you introduced your own kids to dope, how you got your son hooked on meth at 17 years old. You know all this that you've done. But the one thing you haven't noticed is the end result of addiction. That's death. Mm-hmm. And man, that lit the fire in me. And from that point on, I knew my intended purpose in life was to get out here in the trenches, reach those that are in the darkness that I was in, share the love of Jesus Christ that I found my hope in. I'm not pushing Christ on anyone. I can only tell you through my experience what worked for me. And I just tell my story. I reach to those that are suffering, and I give them an option to be able to get help if they want it. And right now, guys, I have the most incredible team that is behind me. I've got some big heavy hitters that are on call 24 hours a day for me. Anyone that needs recovery in the continental United States, I have a team that can make it happen. Whether you have insurance or you don't, we can get anyone into recovery anywhere in the United States. And if we don't have anything close to you, we can help provide transportation to get you somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's my goal, guys, is to go out here and save as many as we can. I started this ride January 1st from Fort Myers, Florida. I've already rode about 2,400 miles. We got 15,700 total to do, and I'm happy to say that in the first 2 months, we've almost hit 30 people off the street and in recovery.
Wow. Yeah. Congratulations, man. And I know you're not doing it for the big applause. Yeah, that's outstanding.
No, this isn't about Big Jim. This isn't about a guy on a bike. This isn't about the miles. This is about the message. It's about you, Matt, going on the steps with me. Going on the steps and sharing. It's about you, Brian, bringing your recovery program out there and representing. It's about any one of your listeners out there meeting me Monday at 4 p.m. on the steps and standing there. If you've lost a friend, if you've lost a family member, stand there in honor with them. Stand up and come up on the steps and share their legacy. Come, if you have struggled, come forward. Be loud about it. If we stand on the sidelines, nothing is going to get done. But if we unite together and we make noise together about this life-taking disease that is not being addressed like they addressed car safety, like they addressed motor vehicle laws, like they addressed gun control. If they would address and attack this epidemic like they do all that, then we could make a huge impact in the war on the epidemic of addiction. So I invite everyone. Anyone can come and speak. Anyone can come.
And that's
on. I want everyone to stand up and come forward. Monday, 4 o'clock.
Monday, 4 o'clock, State Capitol, 23rd and Lincoln. Man, unbelievable. You gave me goosebumps several times in your story, bro. You and I haven't even met face-to-face, but I'm excited about it. I will definitely be there, man.
Yes, brother. Come with me.
Yeah, I'll be there, man.
Bring 1,000 friends. We want to block the streets. We want to see people there with signs of love and compassion and empathy. We want people to be there representing and making a difference.
And, Jim, I just want to say that, man, I greatly appreciate what you're doing. I don't know how many people I've heard before, and still this day, who thinks that addiction is somehow a moral failing in the individual. And, I just simply say, well, I understand that's your opinion, but you're just simply wrong. this has absolutely nothing to do with a moral failing. Addicts in active addiction may do some immoral things, but it has nothing to do, it's a moral failing. It is a disease. It is devastating. It's one of the only disease that I know that just absolutely devastates everything. Everything.
It has no boundaries.
No.
It doesn't care if you're black, white, red, green, yellow, brown. It doesn't care what your sexual preference is. It doesn't care if you're rich, if you're poor. It doesn't care if you're a legislator or if you work at McDonald's.
No, and
it touches every single corner of our society.
And I tell people, I said, if you're of the mindset that this is a moral failing and it's just about choice and they should just say, nope, I'm not going to do it anymore and stop, that's okay. You can think that way. I just ask that you step aside so the rest of us that actually know what is going on can go out and help people and try and prevent some people from dying from this deal. It's just, I worked with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of men in treatment now, and I have yet to find a bad person. I just constantly see a bad disease.
We hate the addiction, but we love the person. I tell a lot of parents and a lot of family members when I'm working with them, I tell them, I said, do you remember that young boy or that young girl before addiction took off with them? Do you remember them, how full of life they were, how they always had a smile on their face, and they're always like, yeah, I remember that. I said, they're still in there.
Right.
Absolutely.
They're still there. I said, that addiction right now has their mind twisted. It has you can't, and here's another battle. This has come to me, and I'm glad it did. Here's my battle. You cannot fix a person that has had 5 years of bad behavior and addiction in a 30-day program.
No.
You cannot train somebody's way of thinking on how to deal with social issues in 27 days, in 60 days, in 90 days. That is a crock. And insurance companies are using this disease to fatten their pockets on a just as you do giving cattle shots and treating them for worms. You run them through the head gate, you let them out, then you bring them back in 3 months later.
Yeah.
And
we've got to change that.
I'm going to probably anger some people out there with this, but it's my opinion. I don't fully blame the insurance company either. There are many corporations in this treatment business. We have some responsibility too. You go to these treatment facilities that cost $90,000 or $30,000 a month. I promise you're not getting $30,000 worth of some type of exceptional psychotherapy. You're paying for the amenities. You're paying for the yoga. You're paying for the beachfront view. You're paying for the sunsets across the ocean. And I have never yet seen anybody get sober because they saw a beautiful sunset across the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct.
So there's some culpability in my opinion in the treatment field itself because we charge these absolutely outrageous prices for what? Because so they can have a 400 thread count sheet on their bed, and how's that going to help anybody? And so I get
when
frustrated.
Getting comfortable in recovery, when is that good?
It's the absolute opposite.
Right.
If you want to get better, you're going to have to get uncomfortable.
Yeah, you're going to have to dig deep. You're going to have to get,
So I've had a lot of friends in the different treatment facilities. Probably going to be blowing my phone up here in a second, but. And I'm sorry, I don't get it. I think the guys that I work with at Rob's Ranch, and obviously I'm incredibly biased, I think we're very, very good therapists, and yet I still don't think that I could justify paying $30,000 a month to come see me.
You say Ocean View.
Just to add real quickly, the Panama City Rescue Commission, I moved up quickly after Alex's passing. I mean, I dove into recovery, and I dove into working my program, and really started blossoming, and they saw that, and they nurtured it, and they moved me up where I became house manager, and I was basically staffed while I was in the recovery program. But one of the things that I found out, you know how much it costs this free, long-term, year-long program per individual? You know how much it costs them to take care of them for a year? $13,000. for a year.
Mm.
I mean, if this place can feed me every single day and get me clean and sober, and I had a bed, I had a comfortable bed, I had a closet, I had clothes, they gave me clothes, they gave me everything that I needed for $13,000 for 1 year.
Right.
You can't tell me, I know it's not the insurance company like you're saying. I can agree with that.
Yeah. Hey,
but where's the $90,000 going?
Man, Jim Downs joined us. I was thinking on Monday when you're at the Capitol on the steps at 4 o'clock is what you're talking about. But I co-host the afternoon show. We have you set to come in on Tuesday and stuff. But I'm sitting there brainstorming, thinking maybe I'll do the show Monday from the Capitol. But with that being said, I was going to tell you, somebody used to say to me, well, life is politics, there's politics and everything, blah, 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 whatever. And I said, no, it's not. Yeah. And then the more I do the afternoon show, the more I get plugged in with local politics and national and stuff, too. Somebody, let me just say it this way, and it might make somebody uncomfortable, but somebody's pockets get in line.
Get real, man.
Well, here's the thing. Mama didn't raise no fool. So I know that. So who's getting paid in the deal? That's the thing. How is it coming around? And so I just sit back, and it's interesting to take a little inventory and go,
we could go out. You could have a whole nother show on this.
Totally
but, recovery's big business.
That's the deal, man. I watched, they had, and I'm down of a rabbit hole real fast, as you guys humor me, but earlier this week at the nation's capital, they had a hearing, and I don't remember what committee it was, whatever, but they had the CEOs from these pharmaceutical companies up there. And so they had different legislators talking to them and stuff. And so I watched all of it, but it was interesting to watch because one lady, I don't remember who she's the CEO of what company, but they really, there's a representative from New Hampshire, and she was great because she said, more people died from an opioid overdose in 2017, I think it was, than in the Vietnam War. What's your answer to that? And she was like, well, the statistics. And she was like, our percentages or whatever. And she said, my constituents don't care about your percentages and your revenue and stuff like that, And I'm sitting there thinking, when I heard that, Jim, my dad, I'll show you on Monday, man. My dad was the founder of the Oklahoma Veterans Memorial. It's by the state capitol. Dad was a medic in Vietnam in the first cav out of Fort Hood, right? And so my dad, Brian knows this. My dad passed away the day after my 1 year sobriety, man. I saw Brian the Friday afternoon. I got my 1 year coin, and the next day, Pop changed his address from here to heaven. And so I always kind of talk about peace in the pain because if I wasn't sober when Dad died, oh my gosh, I wouldn't be here. That's for sure. But when I heard that more people died in 1 year from an overdose than in the Vietnam War, I was like, man, if my dad knew that, I can't imagine how heartbreaking that would be to him just to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's to bring it into perspective. I mean, that's horrible. It's horrible.
It doesn't get the attention because there's such a vast majority of our populace think it's a choice.
Yeah. Right. The moral, I love what you're saying. The moral flaws, that's the stigmatism.
Yeah, and the stigmatism itself, and the people wanting to keep it in the shadows and the darks and behind closed doors is killing people.
I used to sit back and watch people post about being in recovery and stuff, and go, "Golly, it's annoying."
Glad I'm not like that guy.
Unfollow it. Golly, man.
Glad I'm not like that guy. I got my stuff together.
I know, right?
Pass me another whiskey.
I know. Or you would hear somebody and you'd be like, what do you mean they don't drink? What do you mean Jim and Brian don't drink?
And you know what the stupidity thing is? I remember sitting there used to watching you heard me say this a couple months ago. I used to sit there and watch the show Intervention.
Yeah.
Drunk. Yeah. Going, man, those people were losers.
We had Candy Finnegan on from Intervention on A&E, and she was like, that's the majority of people that tell me. Some of them, maybe not the majority, but yeah, people watched it when they were canned or high as a kite.
Yeah. I was like,
you ready for this, guys? I was on the show.
Yeah. Were you on it?
My best friend, well, not my best friend, but he was my singer of my band, Jeff James. They did an episode on him, and I forgot what number it was. But yeah, they did the intervention on him, and there I am with a scene with me playing drums and talking it up, and I'm getting like all mad at him because he's such a drunk, and we can't go forward in the band because he's such a drunk.
Yeah.
Guess what? He's dead.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Guess what? My guitarist, Charlie, and that was in Intervention. He's dead.
Yeah.
And the only crew that is still alive for this band is me and Randy. So, yeah, I was on that show. when you said that. I was like, oh, yeah.
I think,
there you go.
You know, I think God is just smiling as I'm sitting there watching Intervention, you know, drunk and everything else. I think God was just sitting there smiling at me going, in time, Brian.
Let me plant this seed and watch this. Just watch this, man. Yeah. Well, Jim, I appreciate you, brother, and I'll see you on Monday. I can't wait, man.
So we're going to do it Monday. We're going to do a what do you call it? A mobile cast?
A mobile cast, a live broadcast. Yeah, we do the afternoon show. If it's 3 to 6. So we've been at one of the legislators' offices there doing the show and stuff, man. But I can make it happen. We'll be able to get up there. I definitely want to be there, regardless at 4 with you. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Please, let's do this. I'm excited, brother. Thank you.
Yeah.
And, you know, normally we're outside on the steps, but, brother, if we can take it inside, let's do it inside.
No, you mean you haven't been outside in the elements you long enough, though, right? It's not cold enough for you in the Midwest. You want to get right out there in front and center of the Capitol, right?
That's what I've done every single time when it was 14 degrees in Jefferson City, Missouri, with the wind blowing at 20 miles an hour. I still went live on Facebook. I still spoke. There wasn't one single person that showed up, but I still did what I had to do.
Yeah. You're a big cat, dude. How many tires have you had to go through?
I've already gone through 2 tires.
All right. Yeah. Well, you're a rock star, brother. I appreciate you, man. Haven't met you, but I love you. That's for sure.
I love you guys, man. And let's just get this movement rolling. Let's make a difference in Oklahoma. It ain't about me. It's about every person out there that struggled with this. So let's show up and make a difference Monday, 4 o'clock. Let's rock this.
You got it, man. Well, we'll promote it like crazy.
Thanks for
what you're doing, Jim. Thanks, man.
Take care, brother. Man, that's awesome, huh?
Yeah.
And it's funny. Well, just in general, I haven't ridden a bicycle. You know how long it's been since I've ridden a bicycle anyway?
I get tired looking at my bicycle.
Yeah. I'm like, man, I got to get after that one. Yeah. Well, that's great. I love what he's doing for many reasons, but you know, well, if you talk about the state of the politics in the state that we're in right now, as far as we don't even touch on criminal justice and things like that, but it definitely has to be front and center, man. That's the deal. We're locking people up, throwing away the key when it's looked at as immoral, like you were saying.
And I get it. I hope nobody gets the idea that I'm against people being held accountable for the behaviors that they do. The behaviors that we do they're atrocious at times, and they people need to be held accountable for the things they do. So I'm definitely not against that. But to think that this is just some kind of they're just making a bad choice.
Right.
By the time it gets to the point of addiction, by the time it gets to where it becomes appalling for most people, it's no longer a choice.
Right, yeah.
The choice may have existed when they were 13 or when they were 14 or whatever, but by the time we get to where we're at in the stages we're talking about, there is no more choice.
Yeah.
And so absolutely hold people accountable.
Yeah.
And that goes for anybody, whether they're an alcoholic, drug addict or not. People should be held accountable for the things that they do.
Yeah.
But let's not call it something that it's not. This isn't a moral failing. It's not like all of a sudden, my mother and father, my dad is probably one of the most honorable, soft-spoken, hardworking, honest, loving men I know.
Yeah.
My mother and father both taught me wonderful morals. They taught me right from wrong. This has nothing to do with the moral failing. This had everything to do with an emptiness inside of me, an emotional pain, and I went into that relief-seeking mode, putting my emotions underneath cold water.
Yeah.
And the substance itself, kicked off the addiction, and it had nothing to do with morals.
Right. I love that.
It's not that. It's not like I was sitting there going, "Well, I know that I shouldn't be doing this."
Right. Yeah.
It's so much more complicated than that.
It is, and the things that the intention. I used to say, that I used to be the best of intentions, but really not the best of execution, because you're literally hijacked, and that's the thing about staying sober, man. Somebody asked me the other day, do you just hate alcohol? Do you hate people or anybody? You just don't want to? I'm like, no, I don't have a problem with you drinking. I have a problem with me drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And, somebody also was like, are you nuts? When I made a comment about when I go in to get gas or whatever, when I walk into a convenience store, I still walk by and see the whole cooler thing and all that. And I might stop for a second and look at it. But it's in that moment, dude, my palate doesn't water. It doesn't look tasty or appetizing to me. I give thanks for it, and then I just kind of walk off, man, because, if you had a bottle in front of me and stuff, I look at it and see what's inside that bottle, and I know that leads to just disaster if I take one sip of that.
So one of the things I do frequently with the clients I'm working with, and, at Rob's Ranch, we have a family education day about every 6 weeks on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And I do this intentionally, and I know it upsets some people and frustrates them, but it is what it is. And I'll share it here. And looking at addiction from a clinical standpoint of view, so I will go around and I ask family members and friends. I said, hey, anybody here, need to take a smoke break or whatever. Yeah. I'll try and stop about every hour or whatever. You can go out the back there and use your tobacco, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then we go through everything. And then I'll go through and I'll read all the 11 criteria in the DSM-5, our Diagnostic Statistic Manual of Mental Health Disorders that we use to diagnose individuals. And I'll go through and I'll read all 11 criteria, asking the family members to think about their loved one and the drug or alcohol of their choice, and see how many of these criteria they meet. And almost without exception, all of them are like, oh my gosh, they meet, 10 out of 11 or all 11 or 8 or whatever. Well, according to the DSM-5, if you meet 2 to 3 of the criteria, you have a mild substance use disorder. 4 to 5, you have a moderate substance use disorder. And 6 or more, you have a severe substance use disorder. Everyone is always raising their hand above 6. Right. I've never had anybody that was less than 6. Yeah. And so they're like, yeah, that's my loved one. Now I ask them, I say, what substance do you think I just read you the criteria from? And I hear everything from, heroin, meth, whatever. And I say no, and I turn the DSM around, and I just read the 11 criteria for tobacco.
Yeah, nicotine.
So, and I let them know, I said, look, if you are addicted to nicotine, whether it's a vape, cigarettes, chewing tobacco, whatever, if you are addicted to nicotine, you are clinically a drug addict. Mm-hmm. No different than the guy who's doing heroin or meth or whatever like that. You get a lot of clinically a drug addict.
You get a lot of red faces staring at you after that?
I've been told a few things.
Where to go and how to get there, right? Yeah.
But mostly it's silence.
Right.
You are clinically a drug addict.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to respond to that.
Right.
So if it's a moral failing, does that mean that every single person out there that's addicted to nicotine has a moral failing?
Right. Yeah. Hey, Chris joins us real fast from the UK. What's up, Chris? How you doing, brother?
Hey, Mac. Good to hear you guys talk, man. That's a great show today.
Thank you, boss.
I just want to reach out, say hi to everybody, and see how you're doing. Hey, man, did you hear about that little thing I put up there on the Facebook Live about the DEA in New York? They raided a drug mill up there, and they recovered enough fentanyl to kill 2 million people. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I saw that.
Unbelievable, man.
Amazing.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I was talking to somebody just earlier about heroin and things like that, and they kind of they don't know about addiction, but they were asking the questions. That's nobody faults you for not knowing about it, but ask the questions and don't just like point fingers and we have been talking about this moral flaw thing. But anyway, then I touched on things are being laced with fentanyl and everything, and that's the deal.
Yeah, right. And I just everybody needs to know recovery is very real. It happens every day, and there's literally hundreds of thousands of us out here living life free from addiction. And all you got to do is reach out to one of us. But do that. Reach out to one of us so that we can give you a little bit of guidance and direction. The other thing is yesterday we went all the way to the western part of the UK, a place called Land's End. I put some pictures up on my Facebook page. That's where we're going to start our journey coming up this summer on the More Than One Way tour. And then also I want everybody to know that tomorrow night, I think it is tomorrow, right, Mac?
Yeah.
On No More Heroin.
No More Heroin, yeah.
There's going to be a real famous guy on there.
Dude, he's silly, man. Now, no More Heroin is the page. At 8 o'clock, I'll be doing sort of a sit-down at the video chat with Higgy Higginbottom. Right?
Higgy.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to get going. I got to run, and then I'll talk to you all later.
Okay,
thanks,
brother.
Chris.
Hey, thanks, brother. Yeah, Chris does a lot with SoberWorks, and, man, he's got an incredible story, too. He shared a couple weeks ago, but he's like, I was trying to plead guilty to a life sentence, and luckily, the judge wouldn't let him plead guilty and gave him 3 years mandatory in sober living and in recovery to get treatment. Yeah,
And Chris is in the UK.
Yeah.
So I tell people this: either there's something to this recovery thing, because you can go anywhere in the world and talk to someone who's truly in recovery, and they'll tell you the same thing. They'll tell you about how their life has changed. They'll tell you about the peace that's inside. They'll tell you about a relationship, with a higher power that has changed their life. So it's either the greatest conspiracy that's ever been created,
right,
or maybe there's actually something to it.
Maybe there's something to it. Yeah.
I was at speaking at a group about a week and a half ago, and I told people, I stood up, I said, look, now the greatest thing that has ever happened to me on this earth is I became an alcoholic addict.
Right.
That's the greatest thing that ever happened to me, because it brought me to my knees. I couldn't do it anymore. I had to give my life, and I gave my life to Christ.
Right.
And my life has never been better.
Way better than imagined. I mean,
better than I deserve.
It doesn't stop either, man. Like one day you were on the phone with me, you said, you need to read those promises and look at those again. And man, it's unbelievable. And you're unbelievable, and so is Cindy and Jim Downs and Chris Freeman from SoberWorks and Melissa in West Virginia, man.
Mac, thanks for all you do. Thanks for having us on the show.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate
thanks
it, man.
Thanks to my wife for being here.
Yeah, for putting up with him. Cindy, thank you. That's awesome. All right, Rise Above Radio, 95.3 FM, 1520 AM here in Oklahoma City. Also Facebook, KOKC Radio. And you can look at the show at Rise Above Radio with Mac Mullings. OU women's basketball coming up after this. We're KOKC. Thank you so much for joining us, man. Have a great weekend. Be safe.
Don't sell yourself short.